Welcome to episode 2 of the Cool Creative Convos by Wawolo. If you didn't catch the first episode, just scroll back, find us on Apple Music, find us on Google Podcast, find us on SoundCloud. I mean, we are everywhere. Find us at Wawolo Cool Creative Convos and check out episode 1. We spoke about influencer marketing. If you're a content creator, if you're a brand manager, if you're an influencer strategist, or you're just curious about what influencer marketing is, that episode is for you. So check it out and let us know. Now, today, the whole room is filled with some genius, right? Like, the air is different right now because we are about to speak about a topic that, honestly, I think it's clouded in a lot of myth, clouded in a lot of uncertainty. Everybody has an opinion about what it means to be a creative. So today, in this episode, we'll speak about what creativity is, what it's not, what it takes to be a creative. If you've ever felt like you weren't born a creative, you might want to stick around because there's something we're going to discuss and maybe that will change your mind. So I have here with me my brother, the co-founder of Wawolo. I mean, we are here to share what we know, what we don't know. We are here to talk and have some fun. Jabben, how's it going, bro?
Charlie, good. All good. Thanks. Last time, the way I drill you, I'm not saying you're not about to leave me.
It's calm.
Yeah, so just cool down for me. I'm just excited that we have a second episode of this. We're looking to have a lot more episodes, so please stick and stay.
Now, before I shoot my first question, and I mean, before we get down into the question, I think it's important that we understand who is going to speak about it. Only because I always say that follow who know road, right? So, Jabben is not just a creative strategy in terms of a profession as a career, but in case you didn't know, he used to be a rapper.
What?
He's a spoken word artist. So he's quite multidisciplined. He's tried different things in the creative space. God. We're not just speaking to somebody who's speaking for brands, but somebody who's been on the artsy side, so to speak, and somebody who is also translating that life into brands. So we're going to have a very interesting conversation here. Now let's get down to it. The first one. Who is a creative? I mean, when somebody says, I'm such a creative, what exactly do they mean? Who is a creative?
Field rapper, I know.
Hey, we would not take that.
Yeah, I'm a field rapper. But yeah, a creative, is there a real definition for these things? Everybody is creative to me. I think everybody is creative. Everybody is able to sit there, be influenced by the world and come up with something supposedly out of nothing. It's really never nothing, of course. It's because we don't live in a vacuum. We live with people, so we are influenced by people, the environment, everything that we learned since we were a child, and this is what helps us come up with these things. But being able to come up with these ideas to help solve a problem, that is what you call creativity. When you're able to look at a problem and find new ways of solving it. And to me, if the whatever creative thing that you're doing is not solving a problem, then it's really not. Everything, there's creativity inside, every single thing. And it's not just what we know, but it's okay for us to just put certain things under a certain blanket and say drawings, painting, songs, literature, all these things are creative works, and it's easy that way. So yeah, that is how I will call creativity.
I mean, coming into this, I should just go ahead and confess that once upon a time, I also felt like, you know what, I'm not a creative, right? So there's this creative juice that you need to have. You need to be born with it. It's either you have it or you don't have it. And I used to think like that. Then I came across a book that opened my eyes to what truly creativity would mean. So in that book, 1 + 1 = 3, that book says that everybody has capability of being a creative, or you are capable of being creative. And what that means is it is inside of you, but there are some things you need to do to sort of activate it and bring it to life. That book basically says that, you know what, explore the world, let life happen to you. Try different things, do different things, read wide, watch different movies, listen to different music, be eclectic in your music choice, be diverse in your life, and somehow, some way, it all comes back to you naturally that you would say, oh, I had an eureka moment and an idea came to me. But truly, it is never quite out of the blue. It is based on what you've seen, what you've heard, what you've fed your mind, that always comes back together for you to say that you're creative. So just like Jabben put it, it's in you, but you need to find it. You need to find it.
And to talk about what you said, yes, it's everybody can everyone can fill their mind with these things. But the truth is, there are people who find it easier to do these things. It's easier.
Therein lies the genius.
Therein lies
the magic.
The magic, because there are some people who are just, they find it easier to do these things. The quote that is similar to what you said in a way, but it's also saying something else, is everyone can be creative, but not everyone can be a creative. Like a creative would be a creative. Yeah, it's mine, by the way.
I'm gonna quote you on that. I'm tweeting that.
It's mine, by the way.
I'm tweeting that.
Not everyone can be a creative. You have to be able to express that creativity that's in your mind. Some people can think of great ideas, but they'll never be able to put it out there in one form or the other. Because remember, actually, creative works, they really have a finite form. It's either a song, it's either a jingle, a write-up. It's you get me, like a copy, an artwork. You know, these are how I feel like creative works are expressed. So you can be creative, but it takes somebody who really is in love with this stuff to actually become a creative, because you have to know how to express it, right? So my message is that people should really look at it as
bust out brain.
They should look at it as a career,
not that deep thing.
You should look at it as a career. Look at it as, no, it's not a side thing. Like, it's not everybody who can be a creative. And so if you are there and you are creating art, whether you are drawing, you are designing, whatever you are doing that is creative work, even singing, that not everyone can do it.
Now let's talk about muse, right? And just like it's been said, creativity could come from anywhere. What is the muse for a creative? Where do you draw inspiration from? All those big ideas I've seen you work on, all those cool campaigns. I mean, you guys should see Jabben working on the deck. It's like, where is this coming from? It's all from his head. Where does the muse and the inspiration come from?
Don't
cap. It's fast.
It's usually in the morning when you're in the washroom, you get it. But you have to find. I think, you have to find a muse. You have to find your muse. You have to find the thing that inspires you. And I don't know if I have that, but people do, and they base it on something. When I was writing a lot, when I was a spoken word artist, that used to be something that I cared about. I needed something to inspire me a lot of times to write a poem or spoken word piece. It's some of these things you need it. Now, when I became a graphic designer, I did not care much about muses. I was looking for money. So once you give me a brief, I will bash like 10 different variations of one artwork to see which one you like most, and then I get my money, right? And then doing the strategy part of things, coming up with big idea, I realized, you still need something to keep you going. But the muse in that side, I would call them insights, right? But let's go back to that. I think that the muse is, of course, something that inspires you to come up with your art or validates your art, basically. And so that's why somebody has like one woman in their life and they would write all the poems about. When I was writing poems, there was no I know you are come to ask that. There was no lady in blue, okay? There was no lady in blue. I guess there was a lady in blue. If I think about it, there was. I just don't want to talk about it. But it's also being able to be inspired by other things, and that's where truly I pick mine from. I feel like I do not come up with these things on my own. I really dive deep into creative works and I watch things. So if you see me watching a lot of movies, videos on YouTube, a lot of series, a lot of ads, it's because I'm feeding my mind with things, and you don't know where these things come from. I used to tell people that video games are like the biggest places of learning. You just have to learn these things. So when somebody plays too much FIFA, I'm like, Charlie, try other things. Why?
Try Juventus.
Yeah,
I mean, still FIFA, I'm playing another team.
I don't play games anymore, but it used to be also something that I do. But it comes from everywhere, but mostly within you. That's what I can say.
Comes from everywhere, but mostly within you. Now I'm gonna tweet that. So now let's get down to the business side of creativity. I mean, yes, we've spoken about how the muse could come from everywhere, but let's come back to typical brand management agency life. A client wouldn't wait for things to come to you. A client is waiting to see what they always call, where's the big idea? Where's the big idea? So let's talk about that, and what's the process when a client sends you a brief, or somebody says, I want to take a product to market, but I need a creative campaign to take it to market to excite my audience to achieve this particular goal. Walk us through the process of doing a creative strategy for a campaign, for a brand, what does it take?
So when you're starting with something like this, of course, you have a brief. Your client says, do this, do that, do that. You have to break down the brief and create your own brief, to be honest. As a creative, you have to have your own version of the brief that you've received that has all the information that you require to do what you're doing. From there, of course, you need to set your objectives. Make sure that they are smart objectives. Go back to your marketing notes and learn what smart objectives are, but make sure that you're applying those objectives. From there, one of the most important parts for me is the target audience. You need to develop or go deep into the target audience, right? You need to just look at who are these people that we want to speak to. Don't just stop at their age, where they are and all of that. Go deep into their cycle. Look into the psychographics, right? Look into the mentality at this point. What has happened recently that has affected these people? What is their purchasing power? What are the things that they really enjoy? What are the things that they do at their spare time? What social media platforms are they on? What media do they consume? And so on and so forth. That is one thing that I consider very important. Once you have that, it will definitely help you set you on your way. Another thing from there is what is now, it's, to me, I call it the muse, right? For strategy, your muse comes from your insights, and it usually comes before you come up with your main idea, right? But to me, you need to know or have an idea of your main idea before you go on with your insights. Otherwise, you're just shooting in the dark. And so it's really helpful to come up with something. It might not be a final idea, but you know that looking at what the client wants, looking at what the objectives they want to reach, now looking at the people that they want to talk to, this can work for these people, right? It's not a full idea, but it's just like an idea of an idea.
I really like that, and I would want us to talk about it in the context of brainstorming, right? So now brief has come, you're trying to crack the brief. I mean, sometimes, and I find this as a problem, right? When the brief is not done right, now you have to have the Herculean task of actually understanding what client wants first before you go ahead to put up your new ideas. So let's talk about brainstorming for a second. How do you get your ideas in the brainstorm? Because sometimes you join a brainstorm and it's like there was an idea even coming into the room. So it's like people are in there prejudiced, they are bigoted about the idea, and they are just there to defend what they think is the way to go. What would you suggest as a good idea, a good way to have a brainstorm?
Before you go into any brainstorms, you have to go with they would say go with an empty mind, unless you are leading the brainstorm. Because I can never enter a brainstorm with an empty mind, because I would have prepared myself, my mind in a way. I'm not prejudiced. However, I have seen what other people are doing. I'm not going to be speaking out of nothing. I've seen what other people are doing. I've seen what competitors are doing. I've already started thinking about what my ideas could be, so that you're not joining a thing and you're just waiting for some eureka moment. Like I said, you need insights before you enter a brainstorm. You need to read what it is about. Like if they send you a brief, go and check it out. Go and check what the competitors are doing, so that in case you come up with an idea, you realize that you're not copying what somebody else is doing. At the very least, don't copy what people are doing, because that's the point of getting all these things. You need to identify a goal that you guys you're thinking towards, and set that, and allow people from there. You just allow people to feel free. Make sure that ideas come from good places. I don't lie to you. You can be angry and come up with an idea, but definitely it's a wicked idea. It's like to kill somebody at least. But ideas, I believe,
that's an idea.
Yeah, I believe ideas come from good places, Charlie. It's imagine a very rainbow, nice field with really nice birds chirping and all. That's where ideas come from. That's the birthplace of ideas. Your mind has to be really good. So keep it lighthearted. Everyone should have an idea. Nothing is wrong. Nobody has a wrong idea. You have to develop even the bad ideas. Listen to it. Write it down. You never know where it comes from. You can pick a bad idea and even flip it around. Right? Flip it around, and then it becomes a thing. One thing I always say is I remember, if you're a 90s baby, you will remember this quote that I left my car in my briefcase. I think there was a man who was confused. I've forgotten the actor, but it was a very cool. It's a popular quote in one of these Ghanaian movies. It was like, I left my car in my briefcase. I left my briefcase in my car. That's what I was trying to say. But to me, that quote stuck with me so much. There are so many ideas that I've been born with flipping things around. You can basically run a whole accommodation business without owning a hotel or something like that, like Airbnb, Uber. All those ideas, they come from flipping things. So you don't take no bad ideas from brainstorm. So I guess that's how I prepare for brainstorms. You just keep it very open-minded.
You heard it. The next time you enter a brainstorm, the next time you enter a room to discuss ideas, keep an open mind. There's no such thing as a bad idea. A bad idea could birth a good idea. So when you enter into a brainstorm, just make sure you're getting it right. Right. So now that's the process of putting together a creative strategy. He touched on a few things: the understanding of the audience, getting your insights right, understanding the objectives of what the client is trying to achieve. All of those come together to make for a good creative strategy. Now let's have some fun, right? Let's talk about the myths of a creative. We hear a lot of things about creatives. I mean, some of them you even make. I think honestly, that's probably why a lot of people think they are not creatives, because what is being said about them, they look in the mirror and they're like, but I don't look like a creative. I must not be a creative. So I want us to run through quickly some mythbusters, about 3 of them, and then Jabben will just tell us what he thinks about them, whether it's true or it's a myth. Now the first one is, if you're a creative, you have to dress weird. Fact or myth?
That's a myth. I've met too many creatives who look good. Man, they dress well. It's just, sometimes it doesn't fit the occasion. So you see, it's not like they've dressed badly. It's just that, you hardly wear nice t-shirts to meet the bankers. So they feel like it's weird. It's not weird. But it's not a requirement. Like, if that's what you're asking, you can wear a suit and tie. I strongly believe that you can wear a suit and tie and come up with a good idea. It has nothing. I mean, listen, the guys who were coming up with ideas in the early 1900s in Manhattan or wherever in America, they were wearing suit and ties. Please,
Madmen.
Yes, they were. Yeah, they were. So it's definitely not, but it's just nicer, right? It's cooler. That's why it's called Cool Creative Convos.
So you heard it, right? You do not look at how you dress and then conclude that you're not a creative. Creativity is in the mind. It comes from your exposure. It comes from how much you know and how quickly you can connect unrelated dots. Now let's talk about the next one. It's been said that you have to be slightly mentally unstable, borderline crazy to be an awesome creative. True or a myth?
As for that one, I can't even say it's a myth or listen. There's some truth in that. You have to be a little, because that instability or whatever they're saying is based on, of course, a standard, which is the way society looks at things, and so anything away from that standard is considered instability, and so it's very easy for you to say that person. I mean, if you are coming up with a solution that nobody has thought about, that's definitely instability for me. It's not normal. You have to think away from everybody. You have to think outside the box. And once you're thinking outside the box, that's a little crazy. So crazy ideas is what they want. And saying crazy ideas gives me PTSD, because that's you are being paid for a job, and all they are saying, I want the crazy ideas. I want the crazy ideas. Do I look crazy to you? Do I look crazy? But yeah, you have to be a little crazy. I won't say it's the truth. I won't say it's a myth, but you have to.
But you're quite a bit of.
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
You can't be a straight jacket person.
You have to look at society and the way they do things, and then just question it. Otherwise, you're not getting the ideas that you want. That's what I think.
I think it's becoming clearer and clearer that how we've perceived creatives probably is just, some of it is just coincidental. Like the 2 creatives have dreadlocks, you're like, that must be it. But clearly you can still be a creative without rocking the dreadlocks. So that takes me to the final one, and it's probably touching on the muse, what we spoke about earlier. So it's been said that creatives find their muse from weed, alcohol. Is that true, or is it just a myth?
Oh man,
you need to go and shayo. You need to go and shayo to be a creative.
To be a creative, nah, man. I mean, but it depends though, because there are different types of expressions of creativity, right? And so I can understand when an artist is in the studio and they want something, and even that, not every artist needs it, right? But it's hard. especially when you are doing things repetitively and you are expected to do amazing things repetitively, it becomes one of those things where you easily run dry. Your well runs dry, and so that is only to like rejuvenate a few things. Like, I'm being too serious about this. I need to relax my mind. So maybe let me get something, or maybe I just really need an idea. But I believe that you don't. It's not a prerequisite, or it's not something that you need before you come up with an idea. Everybody can come up with an idea once you are influenced in the right way. If you have set your mind right, done the necessary things. Trust me, there are steps you follow to come up with a good idea. You have to, watch things, listen to things, and then you in your mind process things in the right way. You should be able to do that without any external factors. But I cannot say that external factors do not help. I cannot say they definitely help some people. Maybe not me. Maybe maybe not me, but I'm okay. But I know some people actually do need this to move on. There are different types of people. We are very different, but it's not a common thing. Please, it's not everybody who needs it. Please don't go and do things that you are not supposed to do, all in the name of getting ideas. You'll be fine.
Pick up an addiction because that's how you get.
Yeah, don't pick up an addiction. No, don't do that. But Charlie, you can't come up with ideas without anything. Let me not speak for everybody. So that's for me.
Right, it's been such an awesome conversation. I've had a lot of fun. I've learned a lot of things myself, and it's so crazy, right? Every time you speak to Jabben, you learn something new. I guess it's part of being creative. Like, it's always something. It's always different. And I'm happy to have this conversation with him today. Now, let's just bring it to a close and just, leave us with some tips of what it would take to be a creative strategist. Tell us, what would it take if I want to start a career today to become a creative strategist? What mindset should I have? What skill set should I be looking out to have? And what would set me up to be the best in my field?
Listen, you have to be a jack of all trades.
A Superman?
Yeah, in a way, you have to be a jack of all trades. They say a jack of all trades is a master of none, but then the ending says a jack of all trades is a master of none, but is better than master of one. That's actually what you need for a role like a creative strategist. You need to be creative and a creative, so you need to know how to get ideas, but also be able to express it. That's instinctively. You have to be very curious, find out what the hell is happening here or there. You have to love it, but also just know that you have to be humble. For me, those are like personality traits that you need. Be very humble, open to criticism, allow people to tell you what is right, and these are the kind of things that would get you far. I've met too many creatives who just cannot accept that their work or all the work that they put in there did not come out well. I know it's hard work. So when someone says this is not working, it's just hard to take. But personally, I think you just need to just be humble, and look at things from a bigger picture, like a big wide angle, bigger picture viewer. That's what I think you should be. Just don't look at one thing and see. Just don't look at an artwork. Look at the whole campaign. Okay. Other things that you need, Charlie, Ellie, I'm not lying. You have to be an amateur to pro level everything. Photographer, videographer, graphic designer, writer, event designer, manager, like three. That basically comes from the curiosity. So you must have seen one software somewhere that somebody did. You just saw one piece of work somewhere and saw that they use Photoshop to do this. If you're not creative enough to go and download Photoshop and try it, I don't think you can thrive in this thing. You have to be.
So I guess that boils down to the curiosity as well.
Yeah, being curious. Yeah, like try things.
Express myself.
And honestly, there's nothing. There are a lot. Maybe there are some things, but there are lots of things that I have tried. Right, like you said, I'm a failed rapper. I'm a failed rapper, but I used to also write spoken word. I've written ads.
I actually think you should go back to rapping. I promise.
I've written. Listen.
Anybody who has heard you would agree with me. You need to come back to rap.
My guy, nobody's hearing you. The microphone is off. It's off.
Give me my microphone.
It's
I
off.
want to speak.
But yeah. See, we've written ads, Ellie. We've done it all, and that is really what you should be about. So that when you are managing creatives, you know what they're doing. So that somebody will not come and tell you some things that you don't know about, and that's what really it's all about. So I guess my last words would be that I'm encouraging everybody. Everyone is creative, but you have to have these kind of traits to be a creative anything, a creative strategist, creative whatever. But you have to have these things to be able to express your creativity. That's what I think.
Man, it's been a power-packed conversation. Talking to a creative who is multidisciplined, it does bring to bear a lot of perspective to the conversation. I mean, Jabben has spoken about how he finds his muse writing his spoken word, how he finds his bars, and how he's translating all of that into brand and creative strategy. Man, it's been such a journey. Like you just took us on a journey on how all of this connects. I mean, guys, I hope you also got a lot from it. I learned a whole lot listening to Jabben speak about what he does and does best. I mean, so stick and stay and watch out for episode 3. And like I said earlier, if you haven't caught our previous episodes, if you want to catch these episodes anytime, check it out on Spotify, check it out on Apple Music, check it out on SoundCloud, and anywhere you want to catch it. Now, it's been a Cool Creative Conversation by Wawolo, and it's me, Ellie, and Jabben, and catch you soon.